Why do so many people, even the strong and sharp ones, start to slip quietly after turning 80? You see them, once full of energy, still walking tall at 75. And then, almost suddenly, it's like something changes. The spark dims. The days grow quieter. The body slows down. And no one can quite explain why. Most people assume it's just aging, that after 80, your body simply gives out, that it's all written in your DNA or decided by fate. But what if that wasn't the whole story? What if there were hidden reasons, silent, subtle forces that chip away at your vitality without making a sound? In this video, we're going to uncover 6 surprising reasons, often ignored, almost never discussed, that explain why so many older adults struggle to stay healthy and independent beyond 80. These aren't the usual things you hear in magazines. Not diet, not smoking, not even exercise. These are deeper, more invisible, and far more powerful than most people realize. And once you understand them, you'll realize it's not too late, because even small shifts can change the entire course of how you age from this point on. So if you've ever looked around and quietly wondered, why are some people still thriving at 85, while others, just a few years younger, seem to be fading away? You're not alone, and the answers may surprise you. Stay with me, because these 6 hidden factors might just shift the way you see your own future. And at the very end of this video, I'm going to share something special, a practical insight that could help you or someone you love feel more alive, even after 80. You won't want to miss that part. Now, before we dive in, take a moment, grab a cup of tea or coffee, settle into your favorite chair. This isn't just a health lesson. It's a journey into understanding your own life more deeply. You deserve that kind of time. And while you're here, let me ask you something simple. What do you believe is the biggest challenge after 80? Fading energy, loneliness, or loss of purpose? Leave a short comment below with these words. I want to live strong past 80, if that's something you truly want. Your comment could be the spark that encourages someone else reading it, and it tells YouTube, hey, this video matters. All right, let's begin. Number 1. One of the most quietly damaging reasons many people don't live well past 80 is the slow disappearance of something called microsocial engagement. Not your best friends, not your children, but the tiny, almost forgettable interactions that used to quietly shape your days. The smile you gave the grocery clerk, the wave to your mailman, the neighbor you'd nod at during your morning walk. These didn't just brighten your day. They kept your nervous system balanced. They helped your brain stay socially active. They reminded your body that you're still part of the living world. But as you grow older, those moments often fade. You might stop going to the store yourself, ask family to pick things up, or order online instead. Maybe your hearing makes conversations harder. Maybe walking outside feels more risky than rewarding. Little by little, those quick connections disappear, and so does something else, your sense of vitality. What's dangerous is that most people don't even realize it's happening. They think they're just making life simpler. But what's really happening is the quiet loss of the tiny interactions that stimulate the brain, lift the mood, and keep your emotional world alive. It doesn't take much to make a difference. I remember a man in his late 80s who walked to the same cafe every morning, said hello to the same staff, nodded to the same neighbors on the corner. That 5-minute routine, it gave his day structure. It made him feel seen, and it gave his mind a reason to stay sharp. When that kind of connection fades, the body pays a price. Quiet loneliness triggers stress hormones, increases inflammation, weakens your immune system, and starts to shrink the parts of your brain responsible for memory, focus, and emotional balance. In plain terms, it makes you feel older, faster. So if you've stopped running those little errands, if you don't talk to people the way you used to, or if you've started feeling a little invisible in your own neighborhood, it's time to reconnect. Because every wave, every smile, every simple hello is telling your brain and body, you still belong, you still matter. And that may be one of the most powerful ways to stay alive, not just in years, but in spirit. Number 2, another quiet but powerful reason so many people don't make it far past 80 is something that, on the surface, seems wise. Being careful. After all, You've earned the right to take things slow, to avoid risk, to play it safe. But there's a very thin line between being careful and becoming overcautious. And when you cross that line, the effects are rarely dramatic at first, but they always build. Slowly, quietly, unforgivingly. It usually starts with the best of intentions. Maybe you slipped on a wet step. Maybe you nearly tripped trying to get out of the car. So you cut back, just a little. You stop walking outside as often. You avoid the stairs. You quit bending to reach things low. You sit more. And over time, you sit longer. The people around you might applaud it. Don't push yourself. Take it easy. They mean well. But what they don't see, and what no one warns you about, is this. When movement stops, strength doesn't just stay where it is. It fades. And not just in your arms or your legs, but in your reflexes, your balance, your coordination, your inner stability. Your body isn't a machine that lasts longer by resting. It's a garden. And when you stop tending it, it doesn't pause. It withers. One of the first places this shows up is in your core, the deep muscles around your trunk and spine. Most people don't realize how crucial these muscles are for standing tall, walking straight, lifting even light things, or simply rising from a chair. When those core muscles go unused, even for a few weeks, they begin to shrink. And when they shrink, your balance suffers. You begin to wobble, you hesitate, you sit down longer, and the downward spiral picks up speed. I remember a man named Walter, 82 years old. He used to walk a mile every evening. Then one rainy day he slipped. He wasn't hurt, no fracture, just a scare. But that one moment was enough. He stayed home the next day, then the next week. Then walking became watching TV. Within 6 months, he lost 10 pounds of muscle. His legs felt like rubber. His doctor warned him, but the decline had already taken hold. Walter didn't stop because he was weak. He became weak because he stopped. Now, I'm not telling you to ignore real risks. Be smart. Use handrails. Wear shoes that grip. Keep the walkways clear. Use a cane if it helps. Protect yourself. But don't surrender to fear. Because when fear starts choosing your movements, your body starts forgetting how to move at all. So ask yourself, are you moving less because your body truly can't, or because you're quietly afraid of what might happen? Because staying alive, truly alive, after 80 isn't just about avoiding a fall. It's about staying in motion, even if you move slower, even if it takes more effort. Movement is how your body remembers that it's still needed. It's how your brain stays alert. It's how your heart keeps beating with purpose. And purpose is exactly what we're heading into next. Number 3, there's a quiet clock inside your body. It doesn't tick or chime, but it governs almost everything. Your mood, your metabolism, your immune system, and even how your brain repairs itself while you sleep. After age 80, this internal rhythm, known as your circadian rhythm, becomes increasingly sensitive. And one of the biggest reasons it falls out of balance is simple but overlooked. Not enough light during the day and too much artificial light at night. You might not even notice it at first. Maybe you've been dozing off more in the afternoons. Maybe you don't go outside as much anymore, especially during colder months. Maybe the television stays on a little later than it used to, or the bedside lamp stays bright while you read or scroll through your phone. None of these seem harmful alone, but together they begin to confuse your body. It starts to forget when it should be alert and when it should wind down. Your body relies on natural light to reset itself each day. Bright morning light sends a signal to your brain. It's time to rise, move, and send energy where it's needed. Darkness in the evening tells your body to release melatonin, the gentle hormone that helps you fall into deep, restorative sleep. But when your eyes don't get that bright daylight and your evenings are full of artificial brightness from screens or overhead lights, your internal system gets scrambled. You might find it harder to fall asleep, or you wake up feeling foggy even after a full night in bed. Your memory might feel a little duller, your energy might lag. And over time, this disruption doesn't just affect how rested you feel. It weakens your immune system, impacts your mood, and can even accelerate cognitive decline. There's another layer to this as well. Vitamin D. Your skin naturally produces it when exposed to sunlight, but after 80, your body doesn't absorb it as easily. That makes daily exposure to sunlight not just helpful, but vital. Without it, your bones weaken, your muscles ache, and your immune system takes a hit. I once spoke with a woman named Helen, 84 years old. She had been feeling tired, confused, and emotionally flat. Her blood work was fine, no changes in her medication, but her doctor gave her one simple prescription: 20 minutes every morning by the window, with the blinds wide open, and turning off all screens 1 hour before bed. She tried it. Within 2 weeks, her sleep improved. Her memory became clearer. Her mood lifted. It wasn't a pill. It wasn't a treatment. It was light. So if you've been keeping your curtains closed or letting your evenings glow with television light, it's time to shift. Step outside within an hour of waking up, even if it's just to stand on your porch. Let your eyes absorb that morning light. At night, dim your lights. Give your body the cue to rest. These small rhythms aren't just comforting, they're essential. Because what most people don't realize is that the body doesn't just grow old from time, it grows old from confusion, from being out of sync. When you restore your rhythm, your body gets the message loud and clear. We're still on schedule, we're still in motion, and we're still here. Number 4, by the time someone reaches their 80s, they've often endured more loss than most people can imagine. A spouse, a sibling, a lifelong friend, and sometimes even a child. And while the world may offer polite condolences, what rarely gets acknowledged is how deeply those losses settle into the body, not just the heart. What often happens after 80 isn't just grief, it's something far quieter and harder to detect. Emotional suppression. It's the silent habit of swallowing pain instead of speaking it, of keeping a brave face because by now you feel like you should be used to it, or because there's no one left who truly understands the depth of what you've lost. But here's the hard truth. The body remembers what the mouth refuses to say. When grief isn't expressed, when sorrow isn't allowed to be felt, it doesn't simply disappear. It buries itself deep, and over time, it turns physical. It begins to affect your immune system, your digestion, your sleep. It changes your hormones. It places your nervous system into a constant low-grade tension that never quite goes away. The most difficult part? It all happens quietly. From the outside, you may seem fine. You might smile, say you're doing okay. But inside, your breath has grown shallower, your shoulders a little heavier, your spark just a bit dimmer. And even if you haven't spoken about it in years, grief might still be there, unspoken, but never gone. I once met a man named George. He was 86 when his wife of 60 years passed away. He didn't cry much, said that wasn't his way, said he was doing all right. But within a year, he lost weight, stopped going to the senior center, and struggled to sleep. Not because of illness, but because his body had been carrying a grief that never got to breathe. You see, emotional pain doesn't need to be dramatic to do damage. And by the time it shows up in your health, it rarely looks like sadness. It looks like fatigue, insomnia, aches that won't go away, or a quiet fading of joy. What allows people to live well past 80 isn't just a strong body. It's a heart that gets to exhale, a life where emotions have a place to go. Whether it's through talking to a trusted friend, writing in a journal, turning to faith, joining a support group, or speaking to a therapist, the form doesn't matter. What matters is that it's safe, open, and real. Because what gets expressed can be transformed. What gets buried festers. So if you've been holding something in, not because you want to, but because you don't know where to put it, it's time to make space. Not just for your feelings, but for your health. Because here's the truth. The heart can only carry so much before it begins to quietly shut down. And if you want to make it not just past 80, but through it, with presence, vitality, and a sense of meaning, you have to let yourself feel. That's not weakness. That's what healing looks like. Number 5. One of the most overlooked reasons so many people struggle to thrive beyond 80 is something that slowly slips away without much notice. Daily purpose. Not some grand philosophical meaning of life, but the small, everyday kind. The kind that gives you a reason to get out of bed each morning. the kind that gives your day shape. Maybe it's watering the garden before the sun gets too strong. Maybe it's feeding that same neighborhood cat who waits patiently by your door. Maybe it's writing a birthday card to your granddaughter or fixing that one loose hinge on the gate you've walked past for weeks. These simple routines might not seem important, but when they fade, when your mornings no longer begin with something to do, and your evenings arrive without anything worth looking back on, something inside you begins to quiet down. The body listens to the mind, and when the mind doesn't see a reason to move forward, the body doesn't either. Appetite shrinks, movement slows, and all those inner systems that used to hum along, your digestion, your energy, your immune function, begin to go quiet. Not because they're broken, but because they're waiting for a reason to turn back on. What makes this dangerous is how subtle it is. Maybe your weekly card game ended. Maybe your church group stopped meeting. Maybe the family doesn't visit as often. Maybe your knees hurt too much to keep volunteering. You tell yourself it's normal, just part of aging. But deep down you feel it, the days beginning to blend together. Each one a little more silent than the last. I once met a woman named Ruth, 88 years old, who seemed more alive than many people half her age. She wasn't wealthy, she didn't have perfect health, and she wasn't surrounded by a big, bustling family. But she had one thing: rhythm. Every Monday she wrote postcards to people in her church who couldn't leave their homes. Every Thursday, she made soup and froze it for a local shelter. And every afternoon around 4 o'clock, she sat by the window and waved to the neighborhood kids walking home from school. She knew their names. They waved back. It wasn't glamorous, but it gave her life texture. It gave her days momentum. It gave her soul continuity. That's the secret no one tells you. The body stays alive as long as it believes it's still needed. Purpose, even the quiet kind, is fuel. It tells your cells to keep repairing, your organs to keep working, your brain to keep learning. But when that sense of being useful fades, when you feel like your presence no longer matters to anyone or anything, that's when the flame begins to dim. The people who live past 80 with grace and vitality aren't always the healthiest or the luckiest, but they almost always have something that grounds their day. It could be a garden, a Peter, a journal, a phone call, a quiet morning prayer. It's not about how big it is. It's about how consistent. It's knowing that when you open your eyes, there's something waiting for you, some small reason to rise. So if you've been feeling a little lost lately, like your days no longer have shape or meaning, don't ignore that feeling. It's not just sadness. It's your body asking for rhythm again, for structure, for connection, for purpose. Because in the end, living longer isn't just about having a heartbeat. It's about having a heart that wants to beat, and that quiet desire to keep going, to stay useful, to still matter. That's what carries people beyond 80 and into lives that still feel full. Number 6, one of the most dangerous, yet least talked about, reasons many people's health declines after 80 lies right in the medicine cabinet: poor medication management. It sounds simple, but for millions of older adults, this quiet mistake slowly chips away at strength, clarity, and independence. Day by day, dose by dose. After 80, the body becomes more sensitive. It processes drugs more slowly. Side effects become more intense. And yet many seniors are taking 5, 10, sometimes even more medications every single day, often without full understanding of how they interact with each other or what they're really doing to the body. A pill for blood pressure, another for sleep, one for digestion, then maybe a supplement here, a vitamin there, and over-the-counter something that seems harmless. But the truth is, even well-meaning choices can quietly backfire. A calcium supplement taken too close to thyroid medication, a blood pressure pill combined with herbal tea that lowers it further than it should, missing a dose, taking a pill without food when it should be taken with, taking 2 at once because you forgot if you already took one. These small missteps often go unnoticed, until one day you start feeling dizzy more often. Your legs feel weak, your memory gets foggy, you lose your appetite, and no one realizes it's not age, it's chemistry. I once met a man named Arthur, 85 years old, sharp as a tack, But lately, he'd been falling asleep in the middle of the day, waking up groggy and barely eating. His family worried it was early dementia, but it wasn't. He had simply doubled up on his heart medication by accident, thinking he'd forgotten a dose. One adjustment, one clear plan, and within 2 weeks he was himself again. The problem wasn't the pill, it was how the pill was managed. That's the part we often miss. Health after 80 doesn't just depend on the right treatments. It depends on the right routines. Managing medications is no longer just about taking what the doctor gave you. It's about asking questions, using reminders, separating pills by time of day, bringing a list to every appointment. Even something as simple as a weekly pill organizer or asking a trusted family member to double-check your schedule can prevent months of silent decline. Because at this age, your body's working harder to stay in balance, and the smallest chemical nudge in the wrong direction can quietly throw off everything: your energy, your sleep, your strength, your sense of self. So if you've been feeling a little off lately, not quite like yourself, don't just blame age. Take a closer look, because after 80, how you take your medication can matter just as much as what you take, and protecting your independence might begin with something as small as a second look at the label. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want to leave you with one quiet but life-changing truth. Most people don't start fading after 80 because of a single dramatic moment. It's not the fall. It's not the diagnosis. It's not a number on the calendar. It's the slow, almost invisible erosion of habits, rhythms, and reasons to keep moving forward. It's skipping one walk, avoiding one conversation, letting one day pass without purpose. And before you know it, something inside starts to dim, so gradually that you barely notice, until it feels harder to get it back. But here's the good news. Just as those changes came quietly, they can be reversed, just as gently. One small walk, one meaningful hello, one light-filled morning, one decision to stretch instead of sit, one day where you take your medication with clarity instead of confusion, one reminder that your emotions matter, that your body needs rhythm, and your spirit needs connection. That's where it starts. You don't need to change everything. You just need to reclaim the pieces, the daily actions that bring you back to life. So think back to the 6 hidden reasons we explored today. Which one spoke to you the most? Which one made you stop and say, that might be me? And more importantly, which one are you ready to act on, even in the smallest way, starting today? Because the truth is, you have more power than you think, not to stop aging, but to transform how you live through it. And if you're willing to stay aware of the quiet shifts, to protect your purpose, move through your fear, manage your health with intention, and feel what needs to be felt, then you won't just reach 80, you'll live beyond it, fully, boldly, on your own terms. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's one simple thing you're going to do this week to stay strong past 80? Leave a comment with these words: I want to stay healthy after 80, and tell us why it matters to you. Your comment might inspire someone else to keep going. And trust me, it helps more than you know. If you found value in this video, please consider liking it, subscribing, and sharing it with someone you care about. And if you'd like to support this channel in a deeper way, we'd be truly grateful for any super thanks contribution. It helps us keep creating hopeful, meaningful content for you and others like you. In the next videos, we'll be exploring the small but powerful choices that can improve balance, memory, and emotional strength after 65, including daily habits inspired by longevity cultures around the world. So make sure you're subscribed and let us know. What topic do you want us to cover next? Is there something you've been struggling with, or something you're curious about as you age, that we can dive into together? Remember this: you are not a burden. You are not too late. You are worthy of strength, of joy, of a long and meaningful life. Thank you so much for being here. Take care, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.